I grew up watching a lot of Perry Mason, and I have to tell you, it's probably one of the reasons I became a trial lawyer and a prosecutor. You know, we figured we needed better prosecutors after Hamilton Berger lost all those cases. I also had the opportunity in the summer I was studying for the bar to watch Ted Bundy defend himself in Florida, and I was fascinated. I was totally hooked on court TV. That was court TV in the good old days before all the talking heads came in, but you got mostly uncensored, real trial testimony, and it was fascinating to watch. However, I will say this, as someone who's tried a lot of cases in Massachusetts with television cameras in the courtroom, Massachusetts followed Florida, allowing TVs in, and that's why you see a lot of Massachusetts cases. My observations are that if you're a really good trial lawyer, you forget about that. You want to make sure your jury pool has not been infected by the media, but after that, you focus on what's going on in the courtroom, and you don't pay attention to what Dan Abrams is saying about your case or anybody else, because it doesn't matter. Particularly true in the Woodward case, and there's a great documentary about folks who have odd occupations. One of the guys who was interviewed for this documentary was a lion tamer, and when asked about how he felt about the 50,000 people in the stands when he got in with his chair, he said, "You know what? I only think about the lion." And that's exactly what a good trial lawyer does. I'm sure Tom would agree that when you're in the courtroom, the lion is the judge, the lion is the jury. You don't worry about the other stuff, because what those 12 people are thinking is what matters. And that generally proves to be true. I think jurors do look at evidence, they do look at what they hear, and they try and be fair. And we've lost cases and we've won cases, and I can't think of too many that we've won that we shouldn't have. I think of some that we lost, and I know why we did. And I actually have a lot of confidence in what jurors do. They're not perfect, they're not 100%, but they basically do a pretty good job most of the time. In that particular case, in the Woodward case, not only was this issue of could this 18-year-old possibly have done it? But don't forget, part of the dream team from O.J. Simpson had come to Massachusetts. Barry Scheck came on board. He'd just gotten that big acquittal. His biggest concern was whether jurors would hold it against him somehow in Massachusetts. He was quite disappointed to learn a lot of people didn't know who he was. But he did a fabulous job in that case. But I said to him at one stage, "Barry, you just don't understand the medical evidence. You don't understand the forensics," because he's a brilliant lawyer. He's done tremendous work around DNA, and he's done a lot for people who've been wrongly convicted. We've worked with him on those cases in Massachusetts. I have a lot of respect for him. I think of him as a friend and a colleague. But he had not done a child abuse case. And the simple fact was that whether it was Louise Woodward or anybody else, the jurors said, we looked at the medical testimony. The baby had a cracked skull, severe bleeding, retinal hemorrhaging, and a constellation of injuries that could have only been caused by intentional inflicted injury. The jurors listened to that. I'm not sure Judge Zobel did. He was busy writing up on the desk while the experts were testifying. And the jurors, I think we had a chance to meet with them afterwards, said